Hello and welcome to Ironside Sheets. This is going to be episode one in a bulk recording session. So, you're going to see this shirt and you're going to see it for a while. Glare. Deal. All right. So, the first book I'm going to talk about here is The Dog Master by W. Bruce Cameron. Now, I did talk about this book earlier and really early on in making this YouTube channel, but I don't believe I did it justice, and I listened to it again earlier this year, and my God, it is a great book, and it is so funny having listened to it a second time. I don't really like to read books a second time unless I find them very valuable in terms of entertainment, a message, anything. Of course, people are playing on the speaker or playing loud music. Anyway, so if anything does seem different, it's because I'm using my phone rather than I'm using my computer. Reason my computer is freaking out. It's got all these color bars going across. It's the camera specifically. My computer itself is fine, but the the camera is freaking the hell out. Anyway, this is one of the most egotistical, political, and emotional books I have ever read, and I think that's why I love it so much. And it's not egotistically written. It's actually written quite, or I don't know what would constitute egotistically written. I don't hear much from W. Bruce Cameron, so I don't think he's pompous or anything. But it's not written as a like, oh, this is a high and mighty idea. It's just the characters are so egotistical. You have Callie, who is one of the main characters, and she believes that she's untouchable because of her intelligence, and for the most part, she is. Right up until she's dealt a bad hand by their council mother, who Albie, who is just a bitch, very intelligent herself, very capable of long-term thinking, and you just, oh my God, you want to hate Albie so much, and then you do. Like then you see some reason why she may have done what she did, but then she's constantly just making these decisions that are hurting the rest of her tribe. She's selfish. She believes that her survival over everyone else's is paramount. She does not want to give up her position, even though things are changing, times are changing. She and Callie, she gets booted out of the council, but then eventually comes right back in for a short period of time and prolongs her removal. It it just, oh man, it's like you're listening to her and how disgusting and slimy she is, and she is just surviving like a fucking cockroach. Mind you, I don't think there's a single mention of cockroaches in this entire story except for when Albie's on screen or in on the page. She is just gross. Like, if you want to keep her company, stay away from me. But yeah, it's just she makes you hate the situation that they're living in, and it could all be better. True, it could all be better without her, but she does make some decisions that help protect her people. And the thing is that when she's unchallenged, she's protecting her people quite well. Everyone's living. Uh, they're fairly prosperous, give or take with the season, and they're fairly well protected. But as soon as Callie starts pushing at that position and making remarks or gestures that may be or that are taken as a threat, everything starts going downhill, and it's very slow. Albie doesn't impact the welfare of her tribe that much. However, other tribe members do. She shifts their focus onto, and this is really entering spoiler territory. She shifts her focus onto her grandson, who is cursed. He's born with a deformity. He has a club foot. He can't walk. I got something in my eyelashes. There we go. Got it. Can finally No, there's something else there. I think it's dust, but I can see it. Anyway, he has a curse, and she tells everyone that it's a curse. And in doing so, he is ostracized. Even though he's actually pretty helpful, he's a good participant. Then on top of that, Callie's old flame Urs doesn't want to do anything with Mal, because people are already saying he's a bad hunt master. So the leader of the hunting party that they have of men, everyone says he's already a bad hunt master. The thing is, he has no spine, and instead of training his people, and they don't really get the concept of training, they do, because at one point, Mal's brother Dog um, is practicing with Mal on how to throw a spear, and Mal sucks at it. He's throwing, and it's barely tapping into a tree, and it's like, what's up with you, dude? Why are you like? And he's like, fine, I want you in the hunt with me. I know you can't run, but if you can be a good spearman, you'll be in the hunt. You will be dangerous. Finally, Mouse gets really pissed off. He grabs the spear and chucks it with his left hand, and it flies. And they realize he's an amazing spear thrower. And with practice in using that hand, he's actually far more proficient than a lot of the spearmen are at throwing a spear. He's more accurate, and he can throw it a lot further. This is amazing, and he would be a great asset, except the hunt has to run, and Mal can't run very fast. He can run, but he's slow because he's working on one leg, and it's not that he's just hopping on one leg. He grew up with the club foot, so he still runs with it, and it slows him way down because it gives him no propulsion. To which I would have said, go from pursuit tactics into ambush tactics. Scope out the area, find your prey, lead that prey into a kill zone with Mal and a couple of other hunters, a couple of other spearmen. But they don't separate either, because there is danger in the cohort. The cohort are this brutal group of people that are depicted killing a Neanderthal man and gang raping his female partner. I hope YouTube doesn't censor that part, but it's true. That's what they do. They're aggressive. They're brutal. They're violent. They kill for sport. A group of the kindred, the main party the main tribe that we're looking at, go and try to attack 2 or 3 of the cohort. A couple of them die. Several are wounded, and yes, they do kill the cohort, but they kill only 2 of them. 2 or 3 at most. Against a group of 10 or 15 men. And a couple of them die, many are wounded. It's just not a fair fight. And you realize that they're warriors. They are trained to hunt, kill, and fight in close quarters. And this is all happening before the invention of the bow. And apparently the atlatl, which predated the bow by a long time. See, that's the one thing I don't understand. There are no ranged weapons except for throwing stones and spears. But the atlatl was early on, and for those of you who don't know, the atlatl is this hook arm, or it's a piece of wood. It comes out, it has a tiny hook at the end, and you get these big ass arrows. They're about 2 feet long, 3 feet long, depending on how you make them. I think I've grabbed some that are 4. And then you have to pinch the arrow into the back of the arrow into the hook, and then you fling it forward, let go, and then you have to flick your wrist and drive the arrow using the hook. and in doing so, it gains a lot of speed. I was trained how to use them by a wildlife park, something. I forget his rank or title or whatever. But he was higher up in the he was higher up in wildlife park management, and he did a training program with the Atlatl as an outreach to any visitors at the park. And I was able to get what might have been a kill shot with my bare hand. I was upset because I was really shitty at aiming the Atlatl, and so I grabbed the arrow with my bare hand and chucked it, and I got what might have been a kill shot in the neck of a small deer. And it was just foam, right? But it's like these things were so dangerous. Like if I can do that with my bare hand or just my hand and no extra lever arm, what could these people have done with it? And that's the crazy thing. I think W. Bruce Cameron didn't know about the Atlatl, or maybe he thought that the use of it would have complicated a story even further. After all, if you have a bunch of ranged weapons, will the enemy use them? Will other people use them? Will this be seen as anti-tribalism type thing? Like will it cause division? It's a lot of stuff, but it's a great book. It's something to read. I believe that it's worth the time and effort in reading, even though it is fairly thick. Oh, funny enough, uh, ellipsis. Of course, I'm not bright enough to get a PhD concerning paleontology. That was not intentional. It's 405 pages for anyone who's willing to read this large book. And if you're trying to get into reading and you think, oh, I need something that's gonna take me a while, but I want to focus on it, this is a good book to get you started. It is interesting. It starts in the modern day and it jumps back and forth between two different points of view, actually three different points of view, from different tribe members. So two different tribes and a solo character. Like I said, it's political, it's egotistical, it's emotional. You see the struggle of the different characters, what their priorities are, and how they fit into the tribe or tribes, because there are two different tribes that are focused on. One being the Wolfen is a book I need to get to. Wolfen and the Kindred. You don't see anything from the cohort, and I'm not sure if it's a good or a bad thing. I think I would have liked to have seen something from the cohort or a little more, because they're the villain. They're the spooky little villain that's, or not little, but they're the spooky villain that's hanging out around their territory, and no matter how much you try to kill them, they just wipe you out. Unless you use the one Wolfen tactic that did work, but it was never explored. But then again, this seems to be very early on in human development. Maybe a few hundred to a couple thousand years into like proper tribalism. Yeah. Anyway, great book, worth the read, worth the time. I give it 4.5 stars. I have read it twice. Well, I've read it once, listened to it, read it once and 1.5 times. I didn't get through the whole book, and then I switched over to the audiobook because I found it. So, would I read it over and over and over again? No. Was it worth reading a second time? Yes. So I can get more information out of it. There is a movie very similar to this, or in concept, called Alpha. I mentioned it in my first or my first video, but it is nothing like this book. This book is far better and is just so involved. If you want an experience from just what you could consider the beginning of humanity, this is the book for you. Anyways, like always, I have written some books of my own. You can find them in the description down below. I'm not the best author in the whole wide world. I won't claim to be, but if you're willing to give me a chance, please do. It's not necessary. It's just thank you. Thank you for giving it a shot if you do. Also, if you click the link below, it takes you to my website. Subsequent links to each book will take you to Amazon. Plain and simple. And then below that, you will see a link for reviews that I've written that are not necessarily here on YouTube. Go check them out. See if you like anything. And as always, thank you and have a great day.